Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Make sure to check out the webpage Baskis 360 and check out the giveaway contest.
It's 13 hours.
What's that?
I don't know.
Huh, that was interesting. Well, maybe that was your computer, Chaz. Anyway, the got a special guest today, someone that a family member referred, and hope to learn a little bit about who he is and where he comes from. Hey, we're back. Chaz, how are you doing, man?
Great, man. Just perfect. How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. So tell me about the room you're in.
Oh yeah, my home office. It's my surf kind of history room from growing up and competing, and still surfing today. I have boards behind me and a few things around that are just kind of subject to my work environment.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, was surfing you something you've done? Have you grown up by the water your whole life?
Yeah, I was pretty much saved my life surfing did as a kid, both as an adult too.
What's that?
Yes, it did. It saved my life. I'd say as an adult for sure, but as a kid a few times too. It took my life almost, and then saved it at the same time.
Why did you have a rough childhood?
I had a pretty crappy childhood. I should have been taken to an orphanage. I think I would have been better off. But I was raised by a pretty abusive mother and father, and kind of disowned them, But moved all over the world with a Marine father, and pretty much bailed myself out at the age of 16. I sort of got out on my own and joined the military at 17. And,
Absolutely.
Been history ever since.
Actually, my buddy here who's helping, Vic, he was a Marine and sailor himself. And so did your father, who was a Marine, he taught you a lot about, or was he kind of quiet about the military?
My parents were pretty much hands off. I sort of raised myself. I went to school sometimes, and I graduated somehow, and worked military somehow, and I came in as a combat controller in the Air Force originally, and I spent 3 years over there, and then I transferred out of that job to try and go become a pararescueman. And I couldn't get a job site, so I joined the Army while I was in my Air Force uniform there. And they had a cutback program, and they said, "Who wants to go?" And I said, "I want to go now." And I joined to become a Ranger.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we work closely, like I mentioned on the phone call with you before this, with the 5th Ranger Training Battalion at a Camp Frank D. Merrill. Every year we put on an event where we bring blind British veterans and American veterans together to do stuff at Lowers and Mount Yonah and some of the different things. And Rangers truly lead the way. So when we bring the blind guys out, and we're climbing on some of the obstacles, rappelling off of different things, and working on Yonah and the cliffs there, the Rangers they're always working with us, and a lot of guys that were prior service, but they're great guys. And
you deal with the blind. Most of my jumps are blind, and so are my rappels.
Exactly.
I was blind in all of them. I never opened my eyes. I was scared shitless.
You don't like the heights?
Oh no, I can't stand them. I hate jumping in the planes. It's terrible. I hated rappelling. I suppose the whole time I was a blind student going through Ranger school. I think a lot of aspects.
Yeah,
you mentioned Mount Yonah right now. I almost vomited right now. It's right there.
Yeah. But surfing, you said that it helped you a lot. It was something you started later in life, or?
I surfed as a child. I was a sponsored surfer early on in Japan, and I was a short boarder at the time, and it just progressed from there. And pretty soon, it became a lifestyle for me. It's not really a sport; it's more of a lifestyle. It encompasses everything I do from when I wake up to when I go to bed. Even when I was on active duty, even at Fort Bragg, I'd go out and surf hurricanes out on the coast and travel for surf. Hit boards as clipper kayaks and travel with them.
Most definitely.
Well, I'm unbelievably good looking up close, so I didn't want to scare anybody off.
My family member that was that referred to you, you you were referring to her as my sister, but she was like, yeah, he's a big guy, a Nordic looking guy. He looks strong, and so she was painting a picture for me. So
I sent you nude pictures. You did. I sent you nude pictures. You didn't get them. I take it. My nude pictures.
Aren't you?
I saw her. I met her online on LinkedIn, actually.
Yep.
Mom or sister or whatever.
It was well, LinkedIn is you're saying is like a good place to meet up with people, right? So
it was a dating resource for me for many years. Strictly a dating resource. And I tell you, I made a lot of money off LinkedIn. I made my entire living off LinkedIn.
Huh.
It was the best thing I've ever had since retirement. It was the number one thing they should have told us during retirement.
right. I mean, well, networking is such a big thing.
Oh gosh, I don't even put resumes out there. I get called. I turn jobs down so bad, and I turn them down because I hate to work. My boss isn't a dick either. It's me. So he lets me out to work. I can smoke at work if I wanted. But I don't like to work. So
What So I mean, you like the tropics. It sounds like. I mean, you were telling me about growing cannabis. What's that like, and why did you get into that? I mean,
in this area, the region of Pacific Command, you mean? I took most of my positions out here because I worked with the Australian and New Zealand SAS on their type of weapon systems.
yeah,
I worked for a lot of years selling weapons. So my area of expertise was always the Pacific, and I grew up in the Pacific. So it was sort of like home. And I understand it. I understand the Asian mentality. I understand the way the weather works. It's a big factor. Flights, flying to Japan, if you've done it before, it's not normal. So you understand is abnormal for 6'2" guy that's 230. It's kind of strange in Japan. So
I'm hoping to visit Japan here actually in
great place.
in August time frame. My dad was born there in Okinawa because my grandfather was Army Air Corps at the time.
I lived there for about 6 years in Okinawa.
Yeah.
So that's where I became a man. Okinawa.
What made you a man there?
Well, probably things we can't talk about here, but I discovered myself there. I went from Matchbox cars to Japanese girls, and then I learned to be a better person over there. Japanese have a great way of looking at life. They enjoy everything they have, and they respect it. And martial arts were a big part of my life as well. And I never stopped studying. My son's a black belt. That was part of my life as well.
Absolutely.
In my 12th grade year, my 11th grade, 12th grade year, I was so far ahead of other kids socially.
Yeah, growing up too was a big part of my life, and my brothers, we sparred a lot, and it was important, I think, for creating discipline.
It is.
And so
I am yourself.
I can relate. But so spending a lot of time in the Pacific, I guess it sounds like, going back to surfing. You have some surfboards there, behind you, and I know you were mentioning some of that in your message. But what draws you to do that, to ride the waves?
Riding the board, as you think, surfing isn't always about riding the board on top of water. It's a lot of the dreaming the night before, the thinking of it. I had a Volkswagen van 67 bus that I had, a microbus. It was right off the showroom floor, it looked like, and part of getting there was 45 miles an hour being honked at by cars. They never flip you off. They always wave at you. And that whole mentality, the way you put your wax on your board, the way you enter the water, the way you treat the earth, the way you respect the earth, picking up trash in the parking lot, that was the surfing experience. Everybody thinks it's riding the board, but you do that for about 5 or 10 seconds at a time. Maybe 15, I think 25 seconds is a long ride, very long. So you're not really surfing that much. You're doing a lot of other stuff related to it. So sort of like martial arts, you're practicing a lot before you're hitting somebody.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's always the journey, right? I mean, before
there's people that trash surfing as well. They're the pros. I'm no respect for pros, pretty much across the board. I don't think you should take money from something that's soulful. I also don't think you should sell board shorts instead of surfing.
What you were mentioning an organization out there that
Hawaii Military Surf Organization.
That's yours.
It sure is. I actually own it now. I trademarked the logo, created the logo, new one. It's been around since the 50s and 60s. It was actually a very prominent organization here in Hawaii, and some great people were in charge of it. Hurricane Bob was one of the original founding fathers. He's a very famous surfer here. Somehow managed to stay in the Air Force and stay at Hickam Air Base his entire career, but I don't know how he did it. It was a great place. It was a resource for people coming out of Vietnam. It kept him in a good place when it was a bad time. And the organization kind of flip flopped. They had a lot of contests, and it was kind of plasticky, you know. And I took it over. I said, no more contests till we're done with war. Can't justify people going TDY to go surf when we got guys dying. So I got rid of all the contests. I obliterated memberships, made no more memberships. If you want to be a member, if you have a DE form 214, you're a member. As long as Sam says you're cool with me.
What's the name of the organization again?
Hawaii Military Surfing Organization.
And
it's the biggest surf club in the world by far. I think our largest numbers was 2,300 at one time. SecDef was a member. The highest ranking members were the SecDef. No, I think the vice president's number 2. He was. The old vice president. The new one's not eligible. Yeah, it's a good organization. We don't take any money. Got rid of all the money. It was not a good thing. And I ran it from a deficit. I pay to be the club president, basically. I'm the only one who pays. So.
Oh, that's amazing. There's some serious surfing there, and where you're at. And
I'm trying to keep those kids out of that serious surfing. They don't belong in there if they don't know what they're doing. So it's dangerous in the water. Our bears and our tigers are the water. You know, so it can be dangerous here.
Is it something you're still doing now all the time? For the most part, surfing?
Yeah, I can tell you that not enough, though. I don't do it enough. You find excuses as you get older to not go surf, and I get real stuck up now too. I only go on perfect days. You go surf when you want to. That's the key. The guy who's winning is the guy in the water right now. As I'm here, he's winning. You know?
Yeah. Well, it's great to be out there in the wilderness.
I'm taking you surfing, right? Didn't you make that agreement, right?
Hell yeah, I'm all there, man. I'm gonna.
No, you're crazy. I want you to go out there.
I'll do it.
I want to see you out there. I want to see you in a speedo.
It might be blinding. What's that?
What did he
say? But you know, where's the favorite spot there? You know, to surf. I mean,
well, I'd say Bali, Indonesia. Uluwatu is a wave in Bali, Indonesia. Surf that wave, you understand surfing from inside your body. You get a deep connection with nature, and that wave teaches you who's in charge too. And you think you're in charge to get out there.
I surfed some waves too this past September. I was part of a small team of veterans and other people supporting the crew on the Colorado River through the Grand Canyon. 226 miles of it. We put in at Lee's Ferry and took out at Diamond Creek. And I was in my own hard shell. I was in on a river kayak, and we had this system of communication and our own tactics and techniques for lining up above these drops and firing through the rapids. And like Hermit was one of the rapids. There was some like 15-foot, 20-foot easy, waves. But it wasn't surfing in the same sense as what you're talking about. But
right?
I'm sorry?
You stay like stationary in one spot and you ride in one spot, right?
You can if you get on an edge. And this wave was crashing though, so it was kind of hard. A lot of them were all crashing. Usually I think the water level was somewhat lower than usual. It has to be just right to have these like beautiful waves that troughs and swells. And so my buddy, the whole time we were paddling towards this wave, he's like, man, you're gonna be able to jump these waves. But the thing is when I was paddling into the waves, they just were curlers and they just shredded me, smashed me. And so I was you can combat roll, you can right yourself Eskimo roll, and I just was upside down probably for like 40 seconds because I was like, man, I can't roll. It's too crazy right now. And I'd pop up and get some air and come back down, and so but yeah, I just followed guides. I had a team of 3, a primary guide, a secondary, and a sweep, and so they all played their part, to keep me safe. But I'm just triangulating, sound. They were creating a reference. They're like on me, tip left, paddle, moving me like a chess piece. And so we would line up and fire into the rapid.
Barrel at all? Did you feel there's a sound it makes? I was going to ask you if you heard the sound of that piece. It's super peaceful in a barrel. The sound it makes in the barrel is nothing, but it's everything. It's peaceful. It's
Yeah,
serenity.
I mean, the water is just amazing. It just it washes away, the bad things. I mean, it was and down in the canyon, in the Grand Canyon, it's super quiet, super peaceful. And so some of the guys were rock climbers. They loved, just wandering off on their own and climbing some crags, and and sitting up top and just shouting into the canyons, and getting that reverberation, that echo come back to you. So it was a beautiful trip. I don't know if you've ever been down in the canyon.
I have been, but I've never had that fortunate situation. I've always wanted to be in a freshwater barrel. It hasn't happened yet. It'll happen over time, but that peacefulness inside the barrel is something I would like to capture for the rest of my life. It's the one most pleasant place to be.
Yeah, I don't think I'm that finesse with with my abilities in tech and skill, but I'm all about it. I'd get out there and try to surf. That's something I haven't tried to do since my sight loss. So, but
right in front of you. All you gotta do is say the word, and I've got plenty of boards. I've probably got 40 boards here. So.
Wow, the So you were mentioning something, about growing cannabis. And I mean, marijuana and these, like, when we were talking on the phone, and if you're open to talking about it, like what, the way the VA, the way the way we are fed, just pharmaceuticals and stuff, to treat mental illness or whatever, the post-traumatic stress, whatever it may be. I kind of disagree with a lot of that, a lot of medication, that kind of medicine anyway. And there's alternative ways. And do you believe in that? Is that why you started doing what you're doing?
More guys die now and for suicide than I had died in combat. They're friends of mine, close friends. 27 now. 27 men have taken their lives. One recently, within last week, took his life. And my best friend took his life. It was from PTSD. And I have it. You have it. We all have it. Even kids have it. They watch your dog get run over by a car. They have PTSD. It's not a disorder or anything. It's mislabeled of anything. It's just a bad traumatic incident. And some of the things you see. My worst PTSD came from a peacetime operation where I lost men in the mountains up here in Hawaii from a shit chain of command that was piss poor, and they murdered those men. I lost about 6 guys up there in a helicopter crash. Same day that Dale Irmer died. I was in that chopper crash up in the mountains. Do you remember that?
I do remember.
I was a company commander of an infantry company up here in a conventional unit, and couldn't believe the ineptitude from the chain of command, from the division commander down. But that was my worst PTSD incident, was watching my friends die in front of me, my soldiers, in my arms. But it's the worst place I can go to be when I go to that thought.
Absolutely.
It was unnecessary death too, unnecessary.
And so yeah, I mean, like something that can kind of relax you or take you to another place, give you perspective, but doesn't numb you, like some of these drugs that are prescribed to us is not a good thing. I mean, being numb to something is just kind of ruins your life. I think.
I'm holding up 2 joints right now, and this is that reefer madness they talked about that was going to make us rape people, and that it was only associated with blacks and Mexicans and other people of not white color. And we believe that. How we started the FBI and those sort of things is reefer madness. It was fake. I've been smoking it a long time. The only person I raped is myself. I'm loyal to myself, but I've been raping the heck out of myself on this stuff. It's made me a person, a better father, a better man, a better human. It's made me. Also, I got out of the military as an officer, a field grade officer, and I was well thought of. I'm decorated, and I never smoked marijuana. It wasn't my thing. I was addicted to OxyContin and Flexeril and Vicodin because of the VA, and I spent about a year being a zombie. And I went surfing one day with a friend, and he said, "Dude, smoke some pot." I was like, "I'm not doing that. I might get the reefer madness." But I stopped. I started smoking pot that day, and I haven't stopped. I don't even see the VA. As a matter of fact, the VA is like the Antichrist to me. I don't even go in that building.
Yeah.
I hate those guys. What they do to our soldiers. So.
I mean, my father, was a Vietnam era veteran. Didn't serve in country, but he's mainly in Grafenwehr, Germany. But the he didn't start going to the VA till just recently. But I mean, I noticed when I came home that lots changed in the last decade. But I mean, like, physical therapy or, rec therapy, getting out and doing stuff like you're talking about surfing. Because I tell people moving is living. And, I stare into a still world, and that can be contagious. That can make me want to be still. And so for me, it's like medicine to get out and move and touch things and to interface with the world. So a lot of what this show is all about is making people more aware of what other things exist and what you can do. And so I just try to get interesting people on, to talk about what they believe in and what's helped them, and talk about their strengths, their resilience that exists within them, their courage. And I'm sure you've been through a lot of hells, and you reflect more on that kind of stuff when you're back home, when you're in a comfortable place and you're not as busy. Do you stay real busy? Are you working a lot all the time, or are you just playing?
I play a lot. I work continuously. I've worked harder than I did when I was in the military since I retired.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what I do every day is I cry every day. I cry every day. I haven't cried today yet. I don't want to cry here. It's kind of embarrassing, but I cry every day. It's very, very good for you to do that. To think about the past and think about the people you lost and the friends and how to make it not happen again, and how to prevent it from happening in the first place. I'm not a big fan of war at all. I'm kind of a hippie in a way. But if they hurt our country or hurt, one of our women or children, then I'm going to kill them. So no doubt about it. No problems killing a guy. I've done it several times. It doesn't bother me at all. But I don't want to do it. I prefer to live peacefully with, other religions or whatever. But, when we're attacked, we got to go in there full war, which we have not done. We have not done to date. We have not gone in there to win a war. We've gone in there to make an exercise, really, a 20-year exercise, 30-year exercise. We could have won that war in 15 days or less with right people. You have other special operations there, just strictly them. It would have been over like that. Just close your eyes; it'll be over by tomorrow morning. But instead, we play games. So. Yeah,
I mean, these conventional warfare tactics are interesting, and in a modern world, it would, with the ability to, put a lot of heat on the objective, so, direct action. But I mean, it is strange. They like Afghanistan is like considered the graveyard of empires, and it's just it's like a training ground. I don't know, but
it's like NTC for us. People get hurt, get killed in NTC. It's like NTC in the Army now. I mean, they've made a living out of fighting this war that goes on and on. We don't have a military to stay in continuous war. We have a military to prevent us from going to war in the first place. We get the wrong objective. We got the wrong azimuth as a country. We should demand that we don't have war. And when we do go to war, I want to see the leaders' children go to war as well. They got to come home in a body bag as well. I want the president's daughters to come home in a body bag. My friends do. They can too.
It's interesting. I was reading over some of the things that you have, on the web and LinkedIn, but and that comes to mind because you had a quote about that, and it's true. I mean, if you're a leader and you're willing to send people to their death or to fight, then I mean, if your family members should serve. The people that you love and cherish. We all got to be willing to, I guess, sacrifice, be selfless, but especially if you're gonna choose to go to war. So it's a hard thing. I mean, it's changed my life, my perspective completely.
I imagine so. I imagine things look different in your eyes now.
It's a bit, it's a bit darker. No one pays the power bill, but
like with the eyes on, it's still dark. It's still very dark. Mine's as dark as yours is. It's just I can see the light through the back darkness. My war is dark in my eyes too. I have nothing positive to say about those nations we went to. Not one positive thing. I don't think we should train them, help them, equip them. We should defeat them and we should own them. So that's how it works. I don't get a fist fight and half do it. I beat their ass. That's what we do. We haven't done that yet. But Scott Miller may change that, I think. But we'll see. Hopefully.
What I mean, what's that?
You got somber. Sorry about that.
You're no, there's nothing wrong with that, man. I don't know. It's just it's interesting. I appreciate you coming on the show, man. I I don't know you very well, and you don't know me at all, so I wouldn't think you'd be interested. So it was my stepmother. She just calls me up. She goes, I think this gentleman would be great, and he'd talk to you. And I was like, really? I mean, it sounds like he wouldn't want to talk to me. but yeah, man. Have you lived there in the Pacific for literally your whole life? I mean, or did
on and off. I got lucky. I took assignments here. I took my company command here. I came in with the intent of commanding Charlie Company 127 Infantry. It's very famous. From here to eternity. I wanted that company over all other companies, even the Ranger Company. And yeah. I commanded, and I wiggled my way into it. I went to the 82nd Airborne first, and did all that. And then I came here to a lead unit because I have a lot of respect for the 27th Infantry. Wolfhounds, and after that I went on back to special operations and stayed there the rest of the time. But I appreciated the time I had in conventional units. I didn't appreciate the leadership as much as I did the special operations side, but I appreciated the men and the women. The soldiers are soldiers, it doesn't matter where they're at, but the leadership is a big factor. So you don't find dynamic leadership like you do in the special operations community. You find sub leaders that are senior leaders. I listen to sergeant majors. That's what they tell me to do, and I listen to what they say, no matter what rank I am. That's the way it works. And
you were also an enlisted guy for a while, right? Correct.
I was up D7, and then I came over, and I'm real proud of that. But I don't ride on it. It comes out. I have gray hair, and all the badges you can buy at PX, and I just it comes out automatically. Especially when you're first sergeant and you went to BNOC together. And I was also my first sergeant in the squad when I was in long range surveillance. I was one of his troops. I had a good time making him do push-ups my entire time as a captain.
You look great to me, man. So I mean,
I'm here because your mom, your sister, whoever this was, she's a very attractive woman, and I pretty much would have jumped off a building to have seen her. But and she told me about your story. That's what got me. She put the hook in with her looks, and then she pushed the hook in further with you. And, I said, he's the kind of guy that I want to be. I want to know you. So it's good for me to know you.
Oh man, it sounds like you have a great team around you, and you're still involved with a lot of things. When you look back on your life? I mean, would you change anything? Like, would you?
Yeah, I think that's the one thing I'd say is a legacy, a real legacy, not a. I've got weapons I put out there. I put out a lot, 27 weapon systems out in our hands during special operations time, which was unheard of. I was lucky I got in the right place at the right time, but I did things like that. That's a legacy in one aspect. But the legacy I have is the people. When I have a funeral, I want people to go there and say, "Hey, he was a good guy," and not show up. The legacy I have is people legacy, not so much an equipment or a material legacy. I have that too, but it's not something I ride on. A lot of guys get mistaken when they put something out there. They think that's what they're going to ride on. It's not what you made; it's what you did. It's how you influence other people. Do they say good things about you when you're not around? That sort of thing.
Yeah.
I have NCOs that cry. From the helicopter crash in the mountains, I have NCOs come up to me, the first sergeants, and they start bawling at the PX when they see me. And I do too. We lost soldiers together. We felt some real pain, and it could have been prevented. So that is a legacy I want. It's the kind of legacy I want.
Absolutely.
I'd like to have a surf break named after me too. Now, don't get me wrong. All women surf break would be nice, so they could ride me after I'm dead.
What's that quote? Yeah, we make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give, and there's some truth to that. I mean, I feel like I have more meaning in my life now as a broken down, wounded soldier, but it's strange how people treat you, when you're different. So, but it's.
Have you always had this Hollywood voice, by the way? This voice of yours is like it's Hollywood voice. You got a voice that should be in radio. I guess it is. You got the look and you got the voice. That's for sure. No doubt about it.
Yeah, man. No, I don't know about that, but
Tom Cruise, the blind superhero. No, you.
Daredevil.
Yeah, I don't know this. I never thought I'd be doing this shit, with making a show like this. Never was really into this kind of stuff. It was like the funny thing is there was a lot I wanted from the military, and I served a very short stint, and but that short stint, and putting my life out there, and among others, among my buddies, going to war and it changed my life forever, and now I'm on this other kind of path, but. I guess sometimes you don't choose the path chooses you, but I don't know. I've met some interesting people, that's for sure. That I don't think I would have ever met. Guys who've lost a lot, guys and gals that have lost a lot, and it's changed. And just witnessing I was just at Walter Reed. Just a few weeks ago, I was on Capitol Hill doing some things to help with research money for eye trauma, battlefield eye trauma, and there was a gentleman that was just recently he was working with, I think, JSOC, but he was in Syria, and he was part of a group that was there were so many that were killed and wounded, and of the few that were wounded, they had a bunch of eye injuries. And so for me to have the ability to go to his bedside and talk to him about, just like some guys who came to my bedside 10 years or so ago, and explain what is beyond the bend, what can you look forward to, and what you should strive to push for and train for. And so it was great to have that ability to make a difference in someone's life, especially another soldier. He was a captain, and he's completely blind at this point, unless they do some sort of surgery to correct that. And so but that's what makes life a bit more, I guess, meaningful now. Maybe I didn't have that when I was 21.
I can't do that. I can't go to the hospital and see people. That's a strength you have that I don't possess. I cannot walk in that room and see people hurt. I can't see it on TV. I can't watch a show where there's a female soldier that's blown up. I can't do it all. I just can't do it. That's a strength I don't have. I don't have that power to walk into a hospital and see burnt people or see hurt people.
Yeah.
I just can't do it. I cannot do it.
Yeah,
I scouted on post for that reason. I never go on post. I went to my old company headquarters one time, and the platoon sergeant out front was missing a leg. And I got in my truck and I started bawling and left. I don't go on base. Can't do that.
Well, it is a hard thing to face. Absolutely. When I'm standing there in front of the wounded soldier, the captain, and I'm speaking to him, and he's talking about his experience, and he's like a shell of a man. You can tell that. Well, I mean, he suffered a lot of head trauma, but I mean, he just, you just feel a little lost. You're like, you're going 150 miles per hour, and then all of a sudden, you hit a brick wall, and then you wake up half a world away from the battlefield. Life forever changed, and so you're sitting there and you're thinking about, all this, what you learned, what you trained for, what you were doing, and all the people that you've left behind, and it can be very traumatic to you. And me standing, I'm standing there thinking about all that and thinking about this gentleman. I don't know what to say sometimes, as a wounded soldier, even being in the same position, I mean, I'm a bit lost. So I understand what you're saying when, the strength to do that. It's, but I mean, it was so powerful to have someone stand there before me and give me guidance when I was feeling those things. So it was just like when you have a great platoon sergeant or a company commander that gives you a drive and motivation to go kick some ass. But
I'm going to smoke a joint after this. I'll tell you that right now.
I don't want to take a lot of your time, Chaz. I mean, is there especially
smoke one whether we met or not, by the way.
Hell yeah, man. I live near the mountains, man. You get high in mountains all the time. But this, it's kind of interesting, the climate that you live in and where I am. If I go 35, 40 minutes, I can be, next to 14,000 foot peaks. And, there's like probably 200 inches of snow, a base of snow out there. And it's cool. I love the mountains, but I love the ocean too.
Snowboard? Snowboard at all?
Yeah, I snowboard, I ski, do a little bit of all that kind of crazy stuff.
Yeah, snowboarding is amazing. It's like being on a wave all the time. It is. I'm moving to Bend, Oregon, I believe. A friend of mine, Jerry Lopez, lives up there. He's a big time surfer. Mr. Pipeline, and he's got a good peaceful life going on up there doing some yoga. I think I might go capture what he's got up there still a little bit off of him. He surfs rivers like you've been doing, and he's got a really cool life. And he told me, he said surfing that snow is like surfing a wave all the time in the best place on the wave.
Yeah. I almost moved to Bend. I've skied out there on Mount Bachelor. Yeah, I like Bend. Bend's a cool place.
It's pretty.
The trees. I like the trees. It's I absorb the world in such a different way. So it's So what's your this is? I'm stealing your Saturday from you. So
no, I'm cool. The waves are down right now. Or I wouldn't be here. There'd be a sign saying "Gone surfing." Yeah, this is more important than surfing. What we're doing right here is very important.
Is that the? Well, I mean, I'll let you chill, and if you want to go, I didn't know if there's something you want to touch on anymore, but
maybe I guess if I could close out on something, I think that the Army leadership needs to take a look at the way we're treating our people when they get out of the military. It's important how we're treated. How we treat the elderly in our society is a good mark of how people are, but how we treat our soldiers when they get out is a mark of what the current leadership. I blame them hardcore, and I call them out by their names on LinkedIn all the time. And then different articles I write an article for a newspaper as well and for a periodical, pretty well printed now, pretty well known. And I call them out by name when it needs to be. And people don't do that enough. If you see something wrong, don't just fix it, but call out the person that did it by name. Let everybody know they fucked up,
Absolutely.
And they'll fix themselves, or they'll wind up getting the shit kicked out of them. So
accountability. Got to have accountability.
They're going to retire one day. They're going to be a regular citizen. They're going to get their ass beat by somebody. So you will pay for what you've done to people in the future. I'm sure, but people are not going to take that shit anymore off these people. And I watch the hypocrisy of people retiring into high-paying jobs that are 501c for disabled veterans, and then you find out they've got the house in the Hamptons and they're making a great living off it. That's not what it's supposed to be. So I call them out when I find them, and do it publicly in front of as many people as possible. Exactly what I learned not to do in the Army was do it for rules. But I think there's a power of people. There's a lot of people standing around. You go, "Hey, sir, why do you blah 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 blah? Why don't you answer that question for me? I pay your money, your income. How about you answer that question?"
Absolutely.
They have no protection from us now. So
no, in this day and age, it's a great thing. It's the power of voice, the power of communication, and it goes in both directions, good and bad. PSYOPs. But yeah, I appreciate that. I agree. I feel like a lot of wounded guys, the ones that want to give back and do something, because I have buddies that have served as with amputations as well as blindness. A lot of them are officers, but there's a drive and a fire within them, to continue to serve and to be a mentor for others. So it's kind of an interesting perspective that the conventional Army or military has, their perspective on someone that's considered broken or disabled, or just like you said, someone that's leaving the military, and then we're transitioning back into society. We got to take care of our service members, and I appreciate what you had to say. But I guess I'll close out and so that we can wrap this up. But it was great having you, Chaz, on the show, and I appreciate it.
I'm honored. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Honestly, appreciate it.
So this is goodbye, everybody. So I'm just gonna let now Vic.
I'm gonna grab the surfboard and I'm gonna take off. It was nice hanging with you for the day, but I've got to go somewhere right now and go surf. So
Absolutely, Chaz. You
all right,
take
brother.
you take care, man.
Thanks, you too, man.
Have a good day.
Bye.